What if I told you one of the most powerful gaming companies in the world started by making playing cards? And that means no Zelda, no Mario, and no consoles. This is the unbelievable story of Nintendo and how they reinvented themselves over and over again. Nintendo was founded in 1889 in Kyoto, Japan, by a man named Fujiro Yamuchi. We're gonna call him FJ, just to make my life a little easier. And back then, there were no video games. Nintendo made hanafuda playing cards. And these were used for traditional Japanese card games. And they would use them to gamble, which was extremely popular in Japan at the time. So Nintendo quietly became the go-to card company. And for decades, that's all they did. No electronics, no consoles, just paper cards. But eventually, times started to change. By the 1960s, playing cards were not making enough money anymore. So Nintendo at the time tried to do everything, and I mean everything. Nintendo experimented with instant rice, a taxi company, even love hotels. Yes, Nintendo almost became a hotel business. Most of these ventures failed badly, but one idea changed everything. Nintendo hired a creative engineer named Gunpei Yokai. He invented toys like the Ultra Hand. It's a simple extendable grabbing toy that sold insanely well, and this ended up being very important. Nintendo wasn't just a card company anymore, they were an entertainment company. And that realization led to the biggest shift yet, video games. In the late 1970s, Nintendo began experimenting with arcade machines, but early attempts weren't successful. Until 1981, Nintendo released a small arcade game called Donkey Kong. Inside of that game was a little character named Jumpman. He was a carpenter trying to save a princess from a giant ape. You know him now as Mario. Donkey Kong became a worldwide hit, and Nintendo finally had its first gaming icon. In 1985, Nintendo released the Nintendo Entertainment Center, also known as the NES. At the time, the video game industry in America had completely crashed. People thought the video games were dead. The NES was launched with Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Metroid. And suddenly, gaming was back. Nintendo didn't just release a console, they revived the entire industry. After the NES success, Nintendo became unstoppable. They released the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, and the legendary Game Boy. They also created some of the most iconic franchises ever: Mario Kart, Pokémon, Super Smash Bros., The Legend of Zelda, the list goes on. Nintendo wasn't just making games anymore, they were shaping gaming culture itself. And then here comes Nintendo's smartest decision ever, the Wii. Instead of chasing raw graphics power like their competitors, Nintendo focused on fun and accessibility. With the motion controls, anyone could pick up and play, even your grandma. And the Wii sold over 100 million units worldwide. Then in 2017, Nintendo changed the game again with the Switch, a hybrid console you could play handheld or on the TV. And it quickly became one of the best-selling consoles of all time. Here's the craziest part about Nintendo. They don't try to be the most powerful. They just try to be the most fun. That's why characters like Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon have survived for over 40 years. From handmade playing cards in 1889 to one of the most legendary gaming companies in history, Nintendo didn't just evolve, they reinvented themselves again and again. And honestly, that might be the greatest comeback story in gaming history. If you grew up playing video games, drop a like and hit subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers before the end of the month. And with that said, peace out.